Okay, it says I'm live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to, of course, Paradise here. I am in my garden oasis. Let me get that set up for you. Hello, hello, hello. And I just have a couple of things here I want to talk about this morning. I have been working this morning up since before dawn, and my energy is through the roof. And so I'm just going to sit here and like fiddle with this while I try to talk to you guys, okay? Here's why I'm doing this in like my whole scope of life. Let me bring this in. I don't really want to yell at the camera's bad. Okay, here's why. Here's what's up. I have realized that my gifts, my passions and types of intelligence is the way to tap into someone's best superpowers. Okay. And I have to be honest and admit here, I'm having reflections because I sort of ran away from my high school a few years ago. I started writing curriculum and I really wanted to be a writer and a thinker. I didn't really want to be in the classroom. I wanted to write stuff to help the people in the classroom, you know, with this real little thing that is, I think, the problem. Okay. So as a teacher, I did this diagnostic and I'm like, I've got this one little thing that I think is what's tripping so many people up. And I understand it trips up the 7th graders, it trips up the 12th graders, and it trips up people who just didn't get through all the school or they didn't teach it to you because it's kind of hard. It is, but on the other hand, it's really simple if you can recognize it. And so we have to kind of peel back this problem, which is my tip today in my reflections. We're trying to make smarter decisions, better decisions, okay? Not making them on the fly, not making them when they're anxiety and motivated by emotions, but really right decisions for the right reasons, for the right purpose, and in the right circumstances, okay? So hi, somebody's saying hello, good morning. Please subscribe. Please share this idea that I'm talking about because it is becoming a larger than me kind of phenomenon, okay? This really simple idea. Okay, so number one, when you're in this problem situation, people just don't stop. They go with that adrenaline. They go with what's called defensive motivated thinking. You're swinging at stuff like you're wounded, okay? And instead of that, switching that mindset from that hurt into something heroic and stronger. And I know that's incredibly hard, especially when you've been struggling and you're kind of down. I know it's hard. I got it. I know we're all having a hard time. Okay. And that's why you have to kind of stop and settle, and then do two things. Think about your true purpose, your true values, what are you really trying to get? Respecting yourself and being honest with yourself, right? And then the second part of this is what really is the problem? What is it really? Because you or I am involved in something. Another person saying hi. Awesome. Subscribe. And you're involved with this, right? So you have to check yourself. What are you doing in the bigger problem? Because you have to take responsibility to yourself by respecting yourself and being honest with yourself and saying, yeah, this is a problem and I'm going to have to figure it out. Not just running around, because when you're doing that, you're in this wounded zone and you've got this cloak. I'm calling it the cloak of despair. You've got this like, oh no, on you. And if you could just switch that up and be like, yeah, no, wait a minute. Let me put on my refocusing superpowers here. respect myself, truth in myself, know I am strong, and decide, okay, what did I do? What is the conflict? What's the other side? Which means what's their perspective? What do they want? What's their point of view on what they think is going wrong? Because when you're trying to solve problems, especially with yourself, especially with your friends or your family, I think we're such in this who did what pointing that we can't just stop, refocus ourselves and be like, okay, yeah, if I am negotiating and if I am calling a truce and I'm coming to this peace table to find some solution to our problems, right? You're going to have that confidence to represent yourself without crying, without being upset, and say, yeah, I need to change. I could change this if you could change that. And can we meet there? Or you say, hey, okay, I want to do this for my kids. Do you agree that our kids are worth figuring this out? Because, okay, we can both agree. That's something we can both agree on. That at least is breaking down this fight between people. So I'm trying to practice this as I'm writing about it, and I'm rolling it out because it's becoming live here on my YouTube, but also at night on my political channel. So I'm working on a really large social problem. I believe that we're in the middle of a betrayal in the United States, and it's not about which side you're on. It's about the fact that we're so divided. We have to figure out, how are we ever going to get back together? And right now, both sides are like trying to outswing each other. And that's not going to work. I know that. I'm a history lover. So I went to the Nobel Peace Institute and they told me exactly what to do. They gave the teacher the instructions that said, go do it. So I'm doing it. That's what's going on. This is where I'm at. And then okay, if you can do those 3 steps, what did I say? 3 tips. Stop. Focus on your true values. What's your true stake in this? What's your part of the situation? And as it relates to life, what do you really want? Where are your creative gifts and where are your passions? And if you're supposed to be outside in environmental stuff, then how can you make money doing that? Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. And if you're stuck in an office being an accountant, but you really are supposed to be like a forest ranger up on the mountain, you're never going to be happy in life. Never. And I've reached the point in life where I've now been here enough that I'm like, yeah, I see. This can be so simple, and yet we've just gotten all off on this craziness. So I'm here. This now is my oasis de artes. This is my paradise that I imagined 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and I think back to my grandmother, and this was funny this morning. I thought of my grandmother because she was very stubborn and very bullheaded in that determination category. Her superpower was on. Nothing could bring her down. Let me tell you. And she saw it all. Okay. I've been laughed at being told you're like your grandmother. Yeah, you're like your grandmother. You don't let stuff go. You're like this force of nature. And today I realized, yes, my grandmother back in the 1960s was living in Michigan and decided somehow to buy an old motel down in Florida, down on US 27 in a little town called Sebring and Lake Placid. I mean, truly in the middle of nowhere, the orange fields of 1960s Florida, right? My single grandmother at the time, she was probably my age now. I think she was probably 55, 60, something. I don't know. I have to ask my mom more of these details. because sure enough, she ended up buying this weird little motel, ended up building a trailer park on the back of it because it sat on the lake. She had it in the family probably 20 years and created this giant dynasty because she had this idea that that's what she needed to do with her life. And so, yes, that is a huge, epic journey. It is a big, giant challenge. But if that's the life that you wish you had, trust me, you're going to go through your whole entire life going, yeah, I wish I could do that. And every day, and they'll give you a promotion and they'll tap you on the head and they'll give you a $2,000 raise and you'll be like, oh, I really wish I could do this. We can do it in 3 hours. Okay. So at daytime, it's the best life quest. And that is getting in work, in development. OasisDeArtes.com is on as well. And the nighttime station is called the Wayfinding station. It is the civics activity to bring us back together, finding common ground, respect, and truth as these guiding principles. Okay, so that's what I'm all about. And I'm so excited this morning. I've switched around my studio a little bit so that I can have more of the discussion setting and more of my art space here. And I really had to get my palm tree back into production because I've gotten sidetracked by all of this thinking. But I tapped into my gift of existential thinking. I've put up my money and my plans and I'm doing it. And so I'm here. I'm in Puerto Rico. I'm tapping into my community's growing tourism market. We need to bring money to this part of the island. That's part of why I'm here. That's part of how I managed to get this beautiful property to do this incredible project that I imagined 6 months ago in the like, what's my next step? Because it's a pivot, it's a pivot, it's a pivot. And now I have it. It's the Oasis Sextant. How sexy is that? I'm so excited. So the Oasis Sextant, right? The bearings, so you know where you're going. This is the Wayfinding station, literally my gazebo out here. We're doing Catalyst Power because it's arts and imagination and your special gifts, tapping back into that. So that's my Catalyst Power. And I had a Catalyst website and business 10 years ago when I tried this in Panama. So now I'm like, yeah, Panama was my mom's dream and my mom's quest and all of that was great. I chose Puerto Rico and I'm here. This is the best life quest. This is the starting headquarters location. I am here. I did it and I'm taking on the world because the social issue in the States is making me crazy. And every day just keeps getting more divided and more of a problem. I've identified a solution to what I believe is the problem. And I'm talking about it, Betrayed by Trump guide. And the new, so excited, Leaving MAGA guide. That is the show. This is the wayfinding station, because you have to find our way out. We are going to figure this out. That's my story. Thank you for listening this morning. It's been a huge update. It's a huge weekend kind of developmental update. It's taken a few days because your plans take time. And let me get back here to my original reflections on life and my own notes. Number one, stop. Things take time. And this too, you might have a conversation with somebody and you might not get an understanding, but at least you open the door. At least you're trying to say, hey, can we agree on respect and truth? I want to talk about this. I'm being genuine and honest here, friendly, respectfully, truthfully. Can we talk? Because I want to fix our relationship. And I'm testing this out. I don't know. Can you give it a try with people that you've cut out? I've shunned my family, so I got to straighten this out with my family. I was wrong to shun people. I have to own that. I have to admit that. And while I might not have been deceived, I can understand how some people were. A lot of people were. And when I write propaganda and I know how it's structured and I see the mechanics of it, I'm pretty much just teaching reading standard number 6. So teachers, I need you, please, reading standard number 6. It's like my bat signal. Okay, that's my bat signal. And the new code that we have, respect and truce. Okay, Betrayed by Trump Guide, Tuesday nights here on YouTube. The websites are all there, all the show notes, all that stuff. All right, I got to go. Love you. Let's talk about this. And this time, this does have a press screen. I keep hitting the wrong computers. That's a joke. Somebody's having an emergency out there. All right, let's go. Have a great day. Bye.